Investigator Tim White is here, and Tim had a chance to meet up with former Rhode Island Governor Don Carceri, who was in town on Sunday for the memorial. And this was, even though he was only governor for a short amount of time before this happened to him, this really shook him.
Oh, it absolutely did. I mean, as you said, consider this. The night the fire broke out, he was just on the job for 6 weeks, and as you're about to see, he is still overcome with emotion when reliving this horrible tragedy.
The night of the station fire, former Governor Don Carceri was in Florida.
So I said, well, you got to get me out of here.
The next morning, he arrives in West Warwick.
All of our prayers need to go out to the families.
Words hard to describe the sight and the feeling as you're standing there looking at what's transpiring.
Carceri says he was overwhelmed at how Rhode Island pulled together in its darkest hour.
With the enormity of this tragedy, they just, wanted to do anything, Just the outpouring.
Clearly, the emotions are still raw 10 years after the fact.
Oh yeah.
You still feel it.
You don't. It's something you never get over, and I always think about the families. As bad as I feel, and as as emotional as I can get talking about it or thinking back, think about the families.
3 nights after the fire, Carceri says he and his wife Sue learned the identity of one of the victims, Catherine O'Donnell.
I looked and said, my God, so I worked with her father years ago, and when our kids were young, we used to camp together. We were good friends when our kids were young, and we both sat there and just tears.
That really speaks to Rhode Island, doesn't it? We were all in some way touched by this fire.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Yeah. If you didn't have a loved one, you knew somebody that did, and so yeah.
Tears, a real poignant moment from the former governor, and clearly heavy hearts, Mike, even after all this time.
Now, Tim, you caught up with him on Sunday. He did come to this memorial service.
Yeah.
How was he received?
Oh, he was warmly received. As soon as he walked on this site, Mike, victims, family members, and survivors swarmed him, were hugging him. It was like seeing an old friend, acquaintances forged by a terrible tragedy.
Okay, Tim White, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
And as part of our coverage of the club fire tragedy 10 years later, Eyewitness News has reached out to the defendants in the criminal case.